Hello everyone in the Blends and Beyond group and the replay on YouTube if you are watching that way. It's day 3 of our colouring challenge and I need to do my colouring. So I have sat down to do my colouring and then I thought, well, I might as well go live while I'm colouring so I can show you what I'm colouring, right? Even if it's simple colouring, I should be jumping on and showing you what I'm doing. So this is one of the Ephemera pack images, and there's a few images that are just in black and white. So I thought, let's colour these. Look at this. I bought myself some fingerless gloves, but I feel like I feel silly wearing them while I'm on screen, but they were actually helping a little bit, so we'll see. I'm not sure whether I'll do it or not. Let's zoom in and I'll just show you what I'm doing. So I picked out Granny Apple Green and I wanted a little bit of the I wanted a little tinge of yellow on the end, so I've pulled out my dark lemon lolly and oh, that is cold. I'm just going to rest my hand on it. How about that? We'll just do that. So I'm going to just flick from the base. So I'm not doing anything particularly fancy with any of this colouring, but I'm just going to flick and I'm giving it a fairly generous go of the dark Granny Apple Green. Then I've got my light Granny Apple Green and I'm going to just flick out a little bit, not quite to the end. And that way as well. And then with my lemon lolly, and this is the lemon lolly in dark, what I'm going to do is come from the tip and flick into that green, and it'll just give me a little green tinge on the end. And I'm going to try and go inside the lines. I think when I do it live in the group, because of where my camera is, I sort of am away from myself a little bit more, and I think that's why I got a little bit messy the other day. So let's do this one in the background. So I'm just doing fairly simple. I'm not going to do, anything. You can put a lot more detail in it. Let's just do this one, a simple one, and then maybe later on, because I've got a couple of these images, maybe later on I can come back and we can do a little bit more detail. We can step it up again. So again, from the tip out, and I can take that little tip. I might even take that little tip just to give it something a little bit different. So hello if you are joining and watching. Spin around. I can do these 3 together. Because I was asked if I was going to come in every day, and I thought, I hadn't planned to, and then I thought, well, you know what, if I'm colouring anyway, what's the worst that can happen? My cup of tea will go cold, and my son, who's just turned up home, is probably going to cause a little bit of noise in the background, but, what's the worst that can happen? All right. And flick, flick, flick. Then I'm going to pick out colours for the roses. I'm thinking I might do, I do feel like something bold. So I actually did Melon Mambo and Pretty in Pink the other day. So I'm thinking maybe I will do that. So these are great little images to colour. You don't always need to be stamping. We can take these images, and you can also take images from your designer series paper. So I might have to have a look through and see what I've got that I can colour from them as well. Oh, we've got a bit of a stem there. But if I do come in and do these, they will be very impromptu. Very spontaneous and no warning given, so apologies for that. It's probably not the best time to be coming in live, but there's always the replay. All right, got one more to go. I'm just sort of flicking out in the same sort of direction that those veins are going in. Going over everything that I've done to make it nice and wet, and then extending out a little bit, then coming from the opposite end and flicking in. Because if I went over everything that I've already done here, it will give all of that green a yellow tinge, and I just sort of wanted the ends to have a bit of a yellow tinge just for something different. Okay, I won't put the greens away because I may come in with these areas here and just pop a little bit of color. I'm not 100% sure yet, but let's grab our Melon Mambo, and I think I will grab my Petal Pink Petal Pink, Pretty in Pink. I haven't used this color a whole lot in my coloring, so let's start with these. And I think I'll start, sometimes I start in the middle, sometimes I start on the outside. It's all quite different, but I think I'll start in the middle for this one. So just a very small amount of the dark, moving to the light, medium Melon Mambo. So over the top of everything. And then with this one, we can do it in two ways. We can either take it from the tip and bring back in, which I think I will do to start with, because it will change the tone of that Melon Mambo, and I'm not sure what I want to do with that just yet. So a little bit in the center, because the inside of our petals are always going to be the darkest. Hello, if you are watching, jump in, say good day. So coming from that outside and working in. Okay, now remember that the centers are going to be the darkest, but because we're looking at the outside of our petal now, it's still going to be the same. So we're still going to have the center of these, like closest to the, you know, where they all come from the stem, that will still be the darkest. Whoops, something's just buzzed on my Fitbit. It's probably telling me to get up and go for a walk. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways you can blend these. Which one shall I do now? Let's do this one here. So we'll do a little bit around that area and a little bit down there, and sort of take that up just a little bit. Now, if we want to put a little, if we want to cup into it, like we want to turn it into a bit of a cup, we will take that little area up a little bit more, because we want, remember, dark pushes things away and light brings them closer to us. So if we want it cupped in here, for example, I'm just waiting for my image to catch up so I can show what is, see if I'm in screen. So this area in here is going to be darker because it's cupped. So that's why I've put a little area that's darker in there, and then we can extend that up. And then our lighter color will be around the edges. Okay, pretty. And I did see Katrina. Hello, how are you? Again, so this area here will be a little bit darker. I might have to, as these petals are getting bigger, I'm actually going to have to come over with my lighter color, because we've got a bit of a line going on there. So it will sort of change the tone of my Melon Mambo. But I don't think that there's enough room. Like instead of, I've chosen the dark, but you could have gone for the light petal pink, but I don't think that there's enough room in some of these petals on the inside to bring in the fourth color, the light one. But as we get out to these outer edge ones, these bigger petals, I may bring in the lightest of my pink, so I'll have 4 colors all up. So this is now the inside of our petal, because our petal's starting to roll out. So we will be doing darker in the opposite area. It's still the base of the petal because that's the one closest to where it originates from the stem. Okay. And this one. Oops, I think I just picked up the wrong color. That's okay, because you can layer your alcohol markers, it's fine. Okay, now we're getting into the outer areas, and I may be able to bring in that fourth color. So let's do, oh, I've done it again. Put them in the order that I'm using them. I might be able to keep them in the right order. Okay, so this one I will bring in 4 colors. So this is dark petal pink. So I reckon the petal pink and the Flirty Flamingo would go nicely together too. So going over everything and extending out, and then this is the light one, and I can come in from the edge and bring it all in and get that all blended. And I think a lot of the time roses, the outer petals do get lighter. So, you know, that's not too out of the ordinary. Okay, we've got one here. Oops, making my hand cold again. So this is fairly repetitive, so there's not a lot for me to chat about, but hopefully just enjoy watching the colouring. Now this one isn't a very big petal either, but we'll have a go. We'll see if we can just leave a really little bit of a light edge right on the edge there, and then I can come in with the light. So take it from the edge and pull back into the colour. Okay, nearly there. I am liking this. I think it's quite pretty. My creaky table being a bit noisy. Okay, and light one, bringing it in from the edge. One to go on this one, and then we've got the little bud there. And I might do something a little bit different with that bud. Whoops, I nearly started colouring it in then. All right. Oops. Ooh. So if you've got these ephemera packs, then you can grab one out and colour along with me. Now I've noticed that we have actually got some stems, and I didn't colour that one in. Bring that one a little bit in. Okay, so what I think I might do with this one is, even though it's a bud, I think I'm going to start with a little bit of green where like the stem would come out, and then turn that into the bud there, and I'll probably be able to do all of this in one go as well. The buds will be quite dark compared to the rose, so we can take that up and extend it. So there'll only be a tiny little bit of the petal pink, so it's sort of like the center of the rose that we just did. But you can see that they're quite a different tone color, so what we'll do is pull that petal pink down into it just to make sure that the tonings are all the same. Okay, so that they're both similar. And then I'm going to come in with my light, and I'm just going to blend that up into the green a little bit so that they transition a little bit nicer. And then I might actually bring in, let's try this one and bring that down just so that we've got that little bit of a transition from green into the pink. Now if you wanted to, you could come back in with your dark, actually maybe I'll come in with my light, and you can just add a little bit more around some of these areas, just a tiny little bit. In some of the deeper crevices, I'll bring in my dark one. So just in, I'm using my bullet tip here, and I'm just sort of dabbling, dotting in some deeper areas. So if you have, this is where I would bring in pencils. So if you've got some darker pencils, you could do that. So this is, I think I'll leave this one as sort of the basic colouring, and then like I said, I've got some more images of this one, so I can always come back in with pencils and show you how to zhuzh it up a little bit more, perhaps in another day along the way. I don't know whether I want to add green to these. I don't think I will. If you wanted to, you could just grab your marker and just flick some colour on there, but I think I'll leave it for the moment until I decide what I'm actually want to do with this image. So there is day 3 of our 30-day colouring challenge. So there we go. If you're not in the group, come join us, and we're having some pretty amazing images being coloured already. I'll just bring this up to the screen a little bit more. So I think I'll stand up so I can actually see what I'm doing. So there we go. I reckon some Wink of Stella would look really pretty on that. Okay, thanks very much, and we'll catch you again another day soon. Bye-bye.